Hello guys, welcome back to Java session. So today we are going to cover what is this main thread, how to use this join method, what is this isAlive method. These are the three parts we are going to cover along with example programs we are going to cover in this video, right? Sir, what is this main thread means? Basically, this main thread is very important in our Java program, right? Whenever you are starting the Java program, automatically JVM will create this main thread and that maintains the main method of the application. That is the role of the main thread, right? And it has certain properties. So these are the properties which are associated with the main thread. So this main thread is the entry point. That means the main thread acts as the main method of the program. So which is only the whole and sole entry point for the program. And main thread is a foreground thread. Sir, what do you mean by foreground thread means? Which means that the program will not exit until the main thread finishes its execution. Once it finishes its execution, then only it comes out of the block, right? The program will exit. Otherwise, it won't exit. And it is a single thread processing. So what do you mean by single thread processing? Which means it runs sequentially, one line at a time. So that is going to be run by the main method. And it has three more other properties. That is, this main thread has high priority compared to all other threads. This main thread contains the high priority. Whenever uh, there are the system resources, this main thread has the right to occupy the system resources first. So that is the meaning of the high priority, and it is system defined. As I told you, whenever you start the Java program, automatically JVM will create this main thread, right? Sir, does this main thread controls or it initiates any other threads? Depends upon the need, it will controls as well as it initiates the required threads, right? Now, sir, where we use this join method, but I'm going to cover a common example for the join method as well as the for main thread, right? Sir, where we use this join method, beta, we use this join method for delay the execution of the main thread while uh, other threads are waiting for other threads to complete their execution, right? For example, main thread is executing, main thread is under processing. Sir, I want to hold the main thread until other threads finishes its execution. Then we call the join method on other threads so that the main thread will be in the hold. So other threads, they will start executing. Once the other threads finishes its execution, then the main thread will resume and its finishes its execution, right? This is how we are going to use this join method, right? So in case of multiple threads we are executing, there we are going to use this join method, right? Sir, what is the procedure to execute this join method? Beta, as I told you, first you need to create the instance of the thread, right? That need to be complete before the main thread. Let's say, sir, I have X thread. I want to finish this first. So for this X thread, you need to create the object. Now start the thread by using the start method. Then you need to call x dot start. Then after this, now we are going to call the join method on the thread object. Then x dot join, right? It's a method beta j small. We are calling the join method. Then what the join method will do? Join method will suspend the execution of the main thread. So actually main thread will start executing whenever you are started the program, right? So it will suspend the main thread until the this X thread finishes its execution. Once this X thread finishes its execution, again it will start the main thread which is suspended by the join, right? That main thread automatically it starts its execution. So this is how we are going to use the join method. Sir, can you give an example? Hopefully the procedure is clear. So I'm going to show it practically. Here I'm taking an example for the join and main thread, right? Now I'm importing the required packages. I'm taking the class name, something main thread join. Next I'm taking the main method. So as I told you, this main thread is going to be created whenever you are running the Java program, right? That is when the Java program will start, whenever the main method is getting initiated, automatically the program execution will start, right? So by that time, main thread will be created. Sir, whether it is created or not, I want to know. If you want to know what I'm saying, what I'm doing, I want to know the current execution thread, the thread which is under execution. For that purpose, I'm calling the current thread method, right? I want the name of it. That's what current thread dot get name. Get name is the method which is used to get the currently executing thread name. So that's what thread dot current thread dot get name. So this will return the currently executing thread name. Sir, I want to know the priority as well. So same thread dot current thread dot get priority. Get priority is the method which is used to get the priority. Set priority is the method which is used to set the priority. Same way, we have the set name and get name. Set name is used to set the name for the thread, and get name is used to get the name for get the name of the thread, right? Now, sir, as of now, we are started the main thread and we are executing the main thread. Now I want to create one more thread. I want to execute that thread, right? So by using thread class, I am creating the other thread, right? Sir, what is the other thread class name? The other thread class name is other thread only. Here you can see O is capital, right? And T is capital. In my object, O is small, right? So we are created object to the other thread, right? Sir, where we have this class? Here I am taking. This is the class which is implementing the runnable interface. Now, this is the thread which I want to execute before in between the main, right? That in the sense main thread is under execution, right? So we got the main thread name, right? And we got the main thread priority. Now I want to execute the other thread. So other thread object, I am created it as other thread only, right? Now, what is the next step? You need to call the start method on this other thread. I am calling the start method on the other thread, right? Whenever you are calling the start method on the other thread, what will happen? This start method will call the run method, right? So what I want to do, I want to hold the main thread. Further purpose, what I'm doing on this object, I'm calling the join method. So this join method, it suspends the main thread and until this other thread finishes its execution. Now, whenever you are calling other thread dot join, so what it will do, it will suspend this main thread. So once the join thread finishes its once the other thread finishes its execution, then only again the main thread it resumes and it starts executing, right? So that I am doing in the try block. If we have any exception, we will go to the catch block and we will handle that exception, right? So now from here, what we will do, we will go to the run method of the other thread in other thread run method. What we are displaying, start of other thread that we are displaying, then we are calling the sleep method. That in the sense, I am holding, I am activating the sleep on this particular thread for 5000 milliseconds. That in the sense, it is approximately 5 seconds, right? So after that, I am coming out of this, right? We are ending the end of the other thread. Then after this, what will happen once you are ended with your other thread means the join method will resume the main thread, right? So that we will go here and the main thread finishes its execution. We will print end of the main thread. This is how the join method will hold the join method will suspend the other thread until the current thread finishes its execution. Now you can execute and you can see the output here. Now I'm running it. So start of main thread, current thread is main thread priority is 5, start of other thread, and we are waited for some time because we are called sleep method over there. End of other thread. Once the other thread is ended, if you see, then end of main thread. From here, we are called join method. That's what we went to other thread and we are ended other thread. After that, we are ended main thread. This is how join method will work, right? Now, we have one more method beta, that is alive. Sir, what is this alive method? If you want to know whether a thread is under execution or not, right? A thread is under life cycle of the thread. If the thread is under life cycle, this isAlive method will return true. Otherwise, it will return false beta. Now I will show you. I will take an example for this. So this is the isAlive method. What this isAlive method will do? If the thread is under execution, it returns true. If the thread is under dead state, that in the sense it's finished its execution, it sent to the dead state means it returns false, right? So is alive means whether it is alive or not. So whether it is under execution or not. If it is under execution, then it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false, right? So I'm taking an example. You can see here, I'm taking a class that is extending thread class. Whenever you want to create your own thread, definitely you should extend the thread class or you need to implement the runnable interface. Now I'm taking the run method. Within this, I'm calling the sleep method for 300 seconds, 300 milliseconds. Then what I'm doing, I'm calling the thread dot current thread dot is alive. Whether this current thread is under execution or not. If it is under execution, then it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. Then if there is exception, I'm going to the catch block. I'm handling the exception. Now, what I'm doing, try and catch. They are closed. Now I'm closing the class, right? No, I'm closing the run method, right? After that, within the same class, I'm taking the main method. Now, within the main method, I'm creating object to this class, right? Java is alive, SUMT1 equal to new Java is alive. By using that object, I'm calling. So this is before starting the thread. Before starting the thread will not be in the life cycle. So it returns false, obviously. You are calling the start method, then you are calling the is alive, then it returns true. Once its execution is done, you will come out of the life cycle. Then if you are calling it, then it returns false. Now we are not started. That's what it is returning false. Then we are started thread. Here it is returning true. Then after this, whenever you are starting the thread, it goes to the run method. In run method, you are holding for 300 milliseconds. So still you are in the run method. So is run method is alive? Of course, it is alive. That's what here also it returns true. Now see the output. You can understand very clearly. Here, first false, true, and true. This is how this is alive method is going to work, right? This is all about main thread and its priority, then followed by using the join method and isAlive method. But in the next session, we are going to cover thread synchronization, inter-thread communication along with deadlock. Chalo guys, thank you.